What's up everybody, this is Danny, and today let's talk about my month so far with the Galaxy Z Fold 4. This is the fourth version of this foldable form factor from Samsung, and it does look very similar to last year's Z Fold 3. But there are a lot of little differences that do make this a better foldable experience, but are these refinements enough to pull you away from a traditional smartphone like the Samsung Galaxy S22 Ultra? Let's talk about it. Of course, I'll give you the camera comparison that everyone has been asking for between these two, so stay tuned so you can see that interesting outcome. But first I want to talk about how the Fold 4 surprised me in feel and everyday use. While it doesn't look like a drastic improvement, that smaller refined hinge does give this cover display a little bit more room, so it makes it easier to use. It's the little things like the keyboard just being a little bit wider that makes all the difference in the world. So now I find myself using the cover screen a little bit more, but in the end it's all about that inner display. You can see and feel the crease when you're using it, but once you get used to it, you don't really think about it that much. I totally get it if you can't get over it, but try one before you start worrying about it. There is nothing like opening the Fold 4 and using this huge display. This is truly what separates this from phones like the Galaxy S22 Ultra and the iPhone that we're all used to. Yes, this device is a chonker and you will feel it in your pocket, but the way that this thing is built and how solid it feels, it's not as scary to use this as a daily phone anymore, especially with it being water resistant. Plus, there are so many cases available that add functionality and protect the Fold 4. I'm absolutely loving the Neo Hybrid S from the channel sponsor Spigen. You know that I've been rocking with Spigen for a long time, and I'm appreciating the updates to this year's case, bringing that textured pattern on the back that gives it a little design flair. With this big display, it is a must-have that you have a kickstand, and the Neo Hybrid S has one built in. This year, it's reinforced with metal, so it's more solid. It is great to catch up on movies or YouTube videos from your favorite creators on here, or if you're catching up with family or having business meetings, it's super handy to be able to prop it up like this. So this is a major win. So I will leave a link down below so you can get it for a discount on Amazon. If you really want to protect your investment and want the best protection you can get, then you're going to want the Slim Armor Pro. This case covers the hinge too, so if you drop it, you will be taken care of. And look at this, the Pen Edition combines that awesome S Pen slot of the Thin Fit P, so you get the best of both worlds. They cleverly moved the hinge piece to the back to make this happen, so this is the ultimate case for the Galaxy Z Fold 4. Pair this with the cover display screen protector and you are set. This one isn't extra, it is a Korea exclusive, but I thought I'll show it to you here. You get all of that awesome protection, but you also get to carry a card with you, so you can leave your wallet behind. Respect to Spigen on this one, I love it. All of the cases that I showed you today will be linked below, so if you're buying a Z Fold 4, make sure you hit that link and pick one up. As I use other foldables like the Xiaomi Mix Fold 2, while it is amazing in the hand with its curved sides and it's incredibly thin, it does make me appreciate just how good the hinge mechanism is on the Galaxy Z Fold 4. You can see on devices like the Huawei P50 Pocket, along with the Xiaomi, the hinge still can't stand up to whatever angle you want, and it's almost like it has a spring-loaded feeling to where it wants to be open, and that does have its advantages like hiding the crease a little bit better. But the Fold 4 has this solid resistance and it's confident at almost every adjustment. It's almost a little stiff to get open because of how solid this mechanism is. So Samsung has really nailed it in this department. This is where I feel like Samsung's time lead really shows when it comes to the software working with the hardware. I find myself propping this up to catch up on YouTube videos while I'm trying to write scripts or bullet point. Now this is not new to the Fold 4 since the Fold 3 can do this too, but the hinge does feel a little bit different. It could be that this is a new device as well, but I just wanted to point that out. Where I do feel like there is a major difference to everyday use is the new taskbar on Android 12L. This is the first device to ship with this, and man, does it change the way that I use this device. First, let me say that the split screen multitasking is a far better experience on this in comparison to something like the Galaxy S22 Ultra. The split screen here is just so small, I never use it. But in this form factor, it works so well. Now you can add 3 windows, but I really don't see how this is useful. I mean, even if they added a 4th window here, I guess it could be more symmetrical, but I would never use this personally. The split screen multitasking is plenty for me, but what I do on this device is bounce from app to app constantly. And this bar at the bottom really helps me bounce between apps easily and quickly. And yes, you can always just pull up on the multitasking bar like this, like on every other phone, but this makes it feel so much more natural. And this is tied to the apps that you place on your dock down here, but it also shows you your most recent used apps here on the side. So I'm loving this addition to the foldable experience. Sometimes the taskbar gets in the way, so if you want it gone, all you have to do is press and hold for a second and it goes away. And if you want it to reappear, you just do the same thing. Besides that, the experience on the Fold 3 and this are very similar. The fingerprint scanner works like a charm, I love the placement, the speakers still sound fantastic for a foldable device, and it has all of the flagship features that I expect when paying this much for a phone. It has fast charging support, so you can use this Spigen GAN charger if you want to save a little bit of money to get faster 25-watt charging. I wish it did have faster 45-watt charging like the S22 Ultra does, but I'll take it. It has 15-watt wireless charging too, which is great, and reverse wireless charging so you can charge earbuds. So in my opinion, I think most people wouldn't be as intimidated going from a traditional smartphone to a foldable device today. Plus, the battery life so far has been very solid for me. I'm getting a full day's worth of battery and more with zero issues. Even with a smaller battery than the Galaxy S22 Ultra, I'm still getting 7 to 8 hours of screen on time with lots of heavy use, so I think you will be just fine with a full day's battery, and if you're a moderate user, you may even get a day and a half. But everyone's experience will be different. We all use our phones different, so if you jack up your screen to 100%, of course you're going to get less battery, but I think that they're very comparable between the S22 Ultra and the Fold 4 when it comes to battery life, so I don't think you have anything to worry about. Performance has been great so far. Everything has been pretty smooth. No random spiking of heat from using the camera or anything. The Snapdragon 8 Plus Gen 1 is more efficient than the chip earlier this year. So yeah, you'll be pretty happy with the everyday performance, including gaming, which this big screen is absolutely perfect for. So with all of these improvements, should you buy this over the Galaxy S22 Ultra? Well, that depends because pricing is a big factor here. The Fold 4 is significantly more money, so you will have to determine if this bigger display and this form factor experience is important to you or not. You can look at the Fold 4 as a phone and a mini tablet at the same time, and then when you buy the S Pen separately, it can get expensive where the S22 Ultra includes the S Pen. And I can't lie, I love how it conveniently fits into the body, so I won't lose it. I personally am not a huge S Pen user, but for me it makes more sense on the Fold form factor. The canvas is just so much bigger, so if you're an artist or if you just want to use the pen for everyday multitasking and productivity, it just makes more sense. So Samsung, that's the next move. Please find a way for the S Pen to be built into the body of the Fold series. This would be amazing and we would all be excited about that. If you want my opinion and money was no object, I think I'd rather use the Galaxy Z Fold 4 over the S22 Ultra for everyday use. I think that this device elevates the entire smartphone experience, and this is the flagship Samsung experience. But I know a lot of people associate flagship phones with the absolute best camera system, so how does the Z Fold 4's new camera system compare to the best that Samsung makes? When it comes to daytime pictures, just as you would expect, they both do a great job, both very detailed with great dynamic range, and to be honest, I really expected the S22 Ultra to wipe the floor with the Z Fold 4. But this really shocked me. I'm actually seeing better dynamic range on the Z Fold 4. Can you see that here in the sky? As I kept looking through multiple pictures, I was seeing the same thing. Some aren't as drastic like this one, where you can tell slightly the dynamic range is better, but then there are some ones like this that are clearly better. Look at the background areas here. The control of the highlights remind me more of what the S21 Ultra did. I still feel like that was the pinnacle of Samsung processing, but yeah, this older style of processing definitely helps out. So during the day, you might see better photos on the Galaxy Z Fold 4, so that is shocking. But I don't want you to get the wrong idea because it's not like this in every picture. Sometimes the Galaxy S22 Ultra does do a better job, and this could all change with a software update. I heard there's a big camera update coming for the S22 Ultra, so subscribe to the channel and stay tuned because if this does change, I will let you know with a follow-up video. But again, this did take me by surprise where the Z Fold 4 has brighter shadow detail, and I'm betting that most of you will pick the Fold 4 images to be better. But this is just scratching the surface. I have a full camera comparison coming where it does show 108 megapixel mode versus the 50 megapixel mode as well, and I will get very in-depth there, so do not miss that one. Where the S22 Ultra does win though is in the zoom range. They both have 3x zoom this year, which is much better than the 2x on the Z Fold 3. and the 10x optical zoom is where the S22 Ultra really shines. And to be honest, the 10x digital zoom isn't bad on the Z Fold 4 either, but when you push it to the maximum 30x zoom on the Z Fold 4, you can see exactly how much better the S22 Ultra is. There is no question about it. And of course, if you want to go all the way to 100x zoom, which is absolutely bonkers, you can do that with the Galaxy S22 Ultra. Another advantage the Z Fold 4 has is that they both shoot 8K video at 24 frames per second. That's why the video does look a little choppy in this 30 frame per second timeline. But look at the S22 Ultra, it has a crop in 8K and the Z Fold 4 does not. So you get a much wider field of view in 8K video recording, so that is a good thing. If you use just 4K 30 frames per second most of the time, then you won't see much of a difference, which is great because I know a lot of people were afraid to move to the Fold because the camera specs. So now we have a new sensor here. The daytime is an absolute go on the Z Fold 4. Where the S22 Ultra does edge out the Z Fold 4 is in some of the low light images. They both look great, but in some scenarios you can see that there's more noise in the shot. As you can see here, it's easier when you see it cropped in. This mostly happens when you use single snapshot with no night mode. When you punch in, you can see that there is a difference in noise. This makes sense because the Ultra has a bigger sensor, but what's crazy is when night mode is used, the playing field gets leveled and they look very similar. You might even like the Fold 4's brighter approach, but there it is punched in and the noise is cleaned up very nicely on the Fold 4, so you can even say it's a little sharper on the Fold as well looking at the bricks. I do think the S22 Ultra does produce a more natural looking shot, but the Z Fold 4 does so much better at night than I thought it would. The Z Fold 4 does show some disadvantages with letting more green tint into the night mode shot, where the S22 Ultra does retain more of the natural color. You can actually see it again here in video as well. You see the green tint in comparison to the Ultra. The bricks are also more detailed as well on the S22 Ultra, so I really want you to subscribe and watch that full camera comparison because I show exactly how much of a difference there is. And yes, there are times where the S22 Ultra is better and it absolutely shows. But let me say this, if you're afraid that the Z Fold 4 won't give you the results at night, I think you're in for a surprise because this camera goes toe-to-toe with the S22 Ultra in a lot of instances, and sometimes it's even better. So we finally get a level of camera that we deserve on this folding form factor. So this is the cherry on top for me, saying that this is now the best time to get a foldable if you don't have one. Spending almost a month with it so far solidifies just how far this form factor has come, and if you have the extra money to spend on this, I think you'll be impressed. So while it does look like a boring upgrade from the outside, I think that all the little refinements definitely add up to make this upgrade worthy. But let me say this, if you're happy with your Galaxy Z Fold 3, or if you can get that for a discount and want to jump into the foldable experience, that's okay too. So hit the thumbs up if you enjoyed this video and if it helped you out in any way. Subscribe for a lot more videos like this, and everything that I showed you today will be linked down below. So let me know what you think about the Galaxy Z Fold 4, and I will see you in the next one.